In the late 1970s, the residents of Circleville, Ohio, American, lived in constant fear, feeling as though they were always being watched and scrutinized. Hundreds of anonymous letters had been sent to residents, local businesses, government offices, and various other targets, threatening to expose the recipient's darkest secrets. Or worse. The small town of Circleville, located just a half-hour drive from Columbus, did not seem like a place where neighbors would spy on or terrorize one another. However, the anonymous letters targeting this town of 12,000 residents disrupted everything. The author of the letters claimed to know everything that happened in town, and it seemed he wasn't bluffing. Mary Gillespie received the first anonymous letter in 1977, accusing her of having an affair with the principal of the school where she worked, Gordon Massey. In the letter, the anonymous sender claimed to have been watching Mary's family for some time, stating that he knew all about her husband and her 12-year-old daughter, and demanded that Mary end the alleged affair. The letter warned Julie, "Stay away from Massey. Don't tell me you don't know him. I know where you live. I've been watching your family, and I know about your daughter. This is not a joke. Everyone involved already knows, and everything will come to an end soon." The letter was sent from Columbus, Ohio, but no specific return address was provided. Mary tried to keep the matter hidden from her husband, Ron Gillespie, but the threatening letters continued to arrive. Eventually, Mary confided in Ron, insisting that the accusations were completely unfounded. The couple agreed to keep the situation a secret. Not long after, Ron Gillespie received an anonymous letter accusing his wife of infidelity. The harsh and threatening tone of the letter left Ron deeply shaken. Soon after, another letter arrived, even angrier and more scathing. "Gillespie, it's been 2 weeks and nothing has changed. Admit the truth and inform the school board. If you don't, I will take it to CBS, posters, billboard, and advertisements until the truth is exposed." The threats in the letter put Ron under significant pressure, especially from the surrounding community. The letters didn't stop with Ron. Other members of the Gillespie family, as well as people associated with the school, began receiving similar letters. Each letter contained detailed personal information about the recipient, accompanied by clear accusations and threats. A continuous flood of letters made life increasingly tense and insecure for the Gillespie family. Frightened and overwhelmed, Ron and Mary eventually revealed the existence of the letters to Ron's sister, Karen, and her husband, Paul Freshour. Letters. The letters were postmarked from Columbus, and the Gillespie family suspected that the writer might be someone who personally knew them, prompting them to begin an investigation. However, their efforts seemed only to make matters worse, and they continued to receive even more letters, with the anonymous sender becoming increasingly aggressive and threatening. In one letter, the anonymous writer claimed to have rigged a trap on the school bus that Mary Gillespie drove. The family immediately reported the incident to the police, who discovered a device designed to fire a gun that had been attached to the bus's exhaust pipe. It could have discharged if the bus hit a bump or a rock. Fortunately, it was found before any accident occurred. Mary suspected that the anonymous letter writer was David Longberry, a fellow school bus driver, who had previously been rejected by Mary after expressing romantic interest. Paul wrote a letter to David, demanding that he stop threatening the Gillespie family, and for a few weeks, the letters ceased, bringing a period of peace. Everyone was relieved, believing that the nightmare was finally over and that Mary's family could return to a normal life. But unfortunately, things were not that simple. An evening in August 1977, the phone rang at the Gillespie house. Ron answered the call. A short while later, Gillespie rushed out to his pickup truck with a .22 caliber revolver in hand. Ron told his daughter that he was going to confront the person behind the anonymous letters. Ron Gillespie's truck was later found having veered off the road and crashed into a tree. Gillespie died at the scene. The Circleville Police Department declared that Ron had been driving under the influence and caused the accident. His blood alcohol concentration was reported to be about 1.5 times the legal limit at the time of the incident. However, Ron's family and friends denied the police conclusion. They stated that Ron was not a heavy drinker and had not consumed any alcohol before leaving the house. Paul Freshour, Ron's brother-in-law, believed it was a case of murder. The conclusion also seemed to displease the anonymous letter writer. He sent a letter to Dwight Radcliffe, the Pickaway County Sheriff and the officer in charge of the case, accusing him of covering up a crime. Before his death, had Ron Gillespie actually met the person behind the anonymous letters in Circleville? Police determined that Gillespie's gun had been fired exactly once before his death. However, the reason why remains unanswered. After Ron Gillespie passed away, the letters continued to be sent to Mary Gillespie, now a widow, and Gordon Massey. The letters mocked, "Everyone knows what you did. If you don't believe it, go ahead and push it, you'll see." Someone began posting provocative messages around Circleville, especially along the bus route where Mary worked. Many of the signs accused Gordon Massey of raping the Gillespies' 12-year-old daughter. When Mary Gillespie stopped the bus to tear down one of the signs, she narrowly escaped death. The sign was rigged with a loaded gun, and anyone trying to remove it could have triggered the weapon. It was from this point that police began to uncover the first clues. The Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation traced the serial number of the booby-trapped gun that nearly killed Ron Gillespie and identified it as belonging to Paul Freshour, the victim's brother-in-law. During interrogation, Paul's ex-wife, Karen Sue, who was in the process of divorcing him, claimed that Paul was the one behind the anonymous letters terrorizing Circleville. Karen, having lost custody of their children and property, said she had found anonymous letters hidden in their home. Paul Freshour admitted the gun was his, but denied any involvement, stating that the weapon had been stolen earlier. Nevertheless, after handwriting analysis, forensic experts concluded that Paul was the author of the letters. Paul was charged with attempted murder of Mary Gillespie and was sentenced to 25 years in prison in 1984. However, after Paul was incarcerated, the anonymous letters in Circleville did not stop. Even when Freshour was placed in solitary confinement, the letters continued to be sent. The prison confirmed that Paul could not have written or mailed the letters, and searches of his cell turned up nothing unusual. During his sentence, Paul himself received an anonymous, threatening letter, suggesting he was not the sole perpetrator. Paul Freshour was paroled in May 1994 after 10 years of incarceration, and strangely, the anonymous letters also ceased that same year. The case grew even more bizarre when, in December 1993, the television program Unsolved Mysteries came to Circleville to film a segment. Immediately, the production team received an anonymous threatening letter signed "The Circleville Writer," warning them not to investigate. To this day, even after decades have passed, the true identity of the person or persons who wrote the hundreds of anonymous letters terrorizing Circleville has never been definitively determined. The anonymous letter writer in Circleville appeared to know many of the town's dark secrets. Some of the accusations in the letters turned out to be partially true, such as prosecutor Roger Klein, who was involved in an affair with a deceased woman, and Dr. Ray Carroll, who was charged with child molestation in 1993. As for suspects, many theories have been proposed aside from Paul Freshour. One suspicious figure is Mary Gillespie, the woman who discovered a deadly trap while driving her bus. Her extramarital relationship with Gordon Massey, along with the signs defaming her daughter, raised doubts, though many believe she is unlikely to have been the one behind it all. Additionally, Paul's ex-wife, Karen Sue, was also suspected. After a bitter divorce, Karen had both the motive and the opportunity to forge the letters as a form of revenge against Paul. Even her new boyfriend matched a witness description from the scene of Ron Gillespie's incident, and he drove a yellow El Camino, just like the vehicle described, further fueling suspicion. William Massey, the son of Gordon Massey, was also considered a suspect since the initial target of the letters was Mary, who was having an affair with his father. Some of the letters were even signed with the letter W, possibly alluding to William. Some theories suggest that it wasn't just one person, but multiple residents of Circleville who were involved in writing the letters. After the initial scandal broke, many may have taken advantage of the situation to send letters expressing their personal grievances. Though despite numerous theories and scattered pieces of evidence, the true identity of the author or authors behind the Circleville anonymous letters remains unresolved to this day. Even after decades have passed, the mystery of the anonymous letters in Circleville remains unsolved. Theories, suspects, and scattered evidence point in many different directions, but none are convincing enough to definitively identify who was behind it all. The case left a deep scar on this small town, serving as a haunting reminder of the danger in exposed secrets and the destructive power of suspicion. Circleville will forever be tied to one of the most baffling unsolved mysteries in American history.